What is good, y'all? Welcome back to the Heat Report. And ladies and gentlemen, the Miami Heat are officially back. Heat Nation, you are the only team who is currently on a 6-game winning streak or more. So we are currently the hottest team in the NBA. It must feel great because, that game yesterday, we're going to run through all the games that I didn't talk about since my last video. And we're going to talk about this team because we finally seem like we've gotten some chemistry, we've gotten some rhythm going, and it's very fun to watch. So before we even get into it, make sure y'all leave a like and subscribe as always. Comment down below what you guys, why do you think we're on this winning streak? What changed? Comment down below because I have a lot of things to talk about in regards to that question. But yeah, let's get right into it. So as I said before, the Miami Heat are officially on a 6-game winning streak after beating the Atlanta Hawks last night by about 10 or so points. So, and it was a fairly close game going into the fourth quarter. Halfway through the fourth quarter, I think they took the lead, but that last minute we closed the game out on a 10-run run. So it was a very good effort from the guys to close the game out, especially without Jimmy Butler, who's been our closer throughout the whole year. To close the game out without him shows me that we have other guys who can step up when it's needed. So the last game that I did talk about was, if I'm not mistaken, it was when we started the 2-game winning streak. And OKC, I think, was the game that I didn't talk about. Because I think we beat the Kings and we beat the Lakers, if I'm not mistaken, and those were two big wins. When we saw Tyler step up against the Kings with 27 points, and Bam and Jimmy became the first pair of teammates to have triple doubles in two games. So they both had triple doubles against the Kings. Against the Lakers, we did a great job on LeBron. Bam defended LeBron very well. And against the OKC Thunder, which was actually, it was the last game of our road trip, the Thunder. And I thought we played a really great game against the Thunder. And that was the game where we saw Duncan Robinson break out of that shooting slump that he was having before. The OKC Thunder are a very good squad, and they're a lot more competitive than a lot of people expected because they lost Chris Paul. So their best player there is Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, who's not, compared to a lot of other teams' first options, he's closer to the bottom, respectfully. But he's a darn good player. But compared to guys like Jimmy and Devin Booker and all these guys who are very good first options on playoff teams, no one expected this OKC team to make to be in playoff contention, and that's what they are doing right now. And I thought in the OKC game, this is where we really saw Duncan give us a lift. And Duncan, teams have really honed in on trying to run Duncan off the 3-point line, but he's done a lot of cutting backdoor, which is very impressive. The threes are always there. I've been saying it. You can defend him as well as you want, but he's such an asset on the floor at all times. Not only, even if he's not making his shots, his sheer gravity alone pulls multiple defenders out of position, so it opens up scoring gaps for other players on the Heat because he just commands so much attention, which is why he's such a valuable asset. And I really want the Heat to re-sign him if we don't trade him come free agency time, because he is a free agent, restricted free agent. So he is a must. We have to keep Duncan around if we don't trade him for a superstar or something like that, because he's a very important piece to what we're doing right now. Even when he's not making shots, cutting back door, all this other stuff, the chemistry he has with Bam is impeccable. And that was a game for Duncan. Apart from Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, I don't really think anyone else on their team really went off. Lou Dort hit a couple threes. I thought he defended Jimmy Butler pretty well. But Duncan and Kendrick really, they guided us to victory that game. It's a great game against the Thunder. And then against a feisty Toronto Raptors team who were actually coming off of they were on I don't know if it was a winning streak, but they had won 5 in their last 6 or something like that. So they were one of the hottest teams in the league. They were They were climbing up the ranks after their slow start, and I thought we played amazing defense on Pascal Siakam. We forced him to sit in the fourth quarter because he wasn't playing well at all. I thought Bam completely locked him up. Fred VanVleet was hitting some crazy shots at the end of the clock, which I don't really care about. Like, if those shots go in, then you just gotta tip your hat off to them, because like you can't really do much about those shots. But him and Lowry were hitting some tough shots. Not too worried about that. Like I said, that's not sustainable. I think our offense is one of the most sustainable offenses in the league, because we're not relying on individual brilliance to pull us out of sticky situations. We're doing it as a team, which is a good and a bad sometimes, because sometimes in a playoff series you need that guy who can take over and do some things that are extraordinary. And Jimmy Butler is that guy. So we do have that guy, but we also have like a balanced offense where we don't have to rely on luck, or not even luck, like not sustainable offense. Contested shots. We don't really have that many contested shots. Our offensive game plan is very fluid. It's a great game against the Raptors, and Jimmy Butler down the stretch closed that game out. Bam Adebayo on the glass. Number of offensive rebounds. The Raptors went small, and Bam punished them because Pascal was playing at the 5. I think they started OG at the 4, Norman Powell, Fred VanVleet, and Kyle Lowry. Pascal Siakam played at the 5, and it was just too small out there. So we had to take advantage of that, and I think we did. We saw some minutes by Gabe Vincent. Gabe Vincent has played very good defense, so shout out to Gabe Vincent. In these last couple of games, we need him inserted him into the lineup. He's played tremendous defense. And for those of you who are wondering where Max Strus is, Gabe Vincent and Max Strus are actually two-way players, so they're not eligible to play the 72 games in the regular season. They're only eligible to play 50 of them, because two-way players means they get sent down to the G League sometimes as well. So I think what Spoelstra's trying to do is one game he'll play Gabe Vincent, one game he'll play Max Strus. We saw Max Strus earlier on that road trip, and now since we have a homestand, I think he's bringing Gabe Vincent into the rotation. So just splitting the two rotations 2 minutes up, because they're two-way players. But great game against the Raptors, where Bam was a presence on the glass, on the offensive glass as usual. And then I thought we had the biggest win of the season. I really thought this was our best game of the season. Not saying that, like, there were some games where we completely blew teams out, like against the Thunder the first time we blew them out, and that was a great game. But I thought against a team that had the best record in the NBA, had won 22 out of their last 24 games before they faced us. We outplayed them. And not to say they played bad, because I thought they played pretty well, but we shut down a lot of what their offensive strategies were. Jordan Clarkson had a very, very quiet game off the bench. Apart from Donovan Mitchell, no one really went off, which is very important for us to do. They couldn't stop Jimmy Butler. He had 33 points. Bam, again, I thought matched up very well against Gobert, pulling him out of the lane. There was a clip. I saw a clip on Twitter where Bam was on Gobert, switched onto Ingles. Someone set a screen. He switched onto Clarkson, and Clarkson forced some contested fadeaway at the end of the buzzer, and we ended up with the rebound. That's defensive player of the year type stuff. So very impressed with Bam's defense. Dragic. This was the first game that Dragic came back from injury, and he looked amazing with 26 points off the bench. And I love that 1-2 punch of Dragic and Hero off the bench now, because our bench was struggling a bit because we didn't have those two, and they're just instant offense off the bench. Having Goran Dragic and Tyler Hero off the bench is a luxury. We shouldn't take that for granted. Yeah, man, a great game. Hopefully Kelly Olynyk can get his 3-point shot back, because he's been struggling from the arc. That's the only bad thing about this week, is Kelly Olynyk is still not doing that much on the offensive end, but I've been impressed by his he's been playing better defense. Kelly Olynyk, I have to give him credit for that. And last night against the Hawks, I already told you guys about that game. Close game. John Collins, man, I honestly think he went off because Pat Riley was in the building, and he was like, call the phone, trade for me, sign me. Bro, John Collins was going off. We still won that game, but there was a stretch in the third quarter where he was just not missing a shot. And I was like, man, if we had John Collins and Bam in the front court, you know how good we'd look right now. But obviously, we'd have to give up pieces for that. But just envisioning John Collins. And I'm happy we didn't pay that 20 mil for Gallinari because he was just throwing out bricks. Shout out to the Heat legend Solomon Hill. We absolutely locked up Trae Young. Trae Young was not making anything until the fourth quarter where we started bailing him out by sending him to the free throw line. He was missing everything. And yeah, I mean, from our side, great game from K Nunn. Did it without Jimmy, which is a big thing. Hopefully Jimmy can play tomorrow against the Hawks because, I don't know. I didn't know that Cam Reddish and DeAndre Hunter, I don't know if they're injured or not. I didn't see anything about that. They probably are. Same with Bogdanovich for the Hawks, so they might all come back tomorrow, and we're gonna need Jimmy Butler because we just beat them. They're gonna want to beat us back. So we got a big week ahead of us. We play the Hawks, but the Pelicans, but all these games I think are winnable. Hawks, Pelicans, Bulls, Magic again, Cavs, Grizzlies. Like, these are all winnable games. And then we got the Pacers twice, Suns, Trailblazers. So our second half of the season, our schedule is a lot easier. That's what I've peeped when I'm looking at our schedule. The first half, our schedule was pretty tough. Second half, I thought it got pretty easy. Or not pretty easy, easier. So we should be able to, string a few wins together and cement ourselves back into that contender spot. We are currently the 5th seed, tied with the Boston Celtics, tied with the Toronto Raptors, half a game behind the New York Knicks. 1, 2, 3 is the only 3 seeds that are pulling away. The rest, like 4 through 10, are all in like the same pack. Like they're all in like the same spot basically. So if we want to separate ourselves, we're gonna have to continue this winning streak. And hopefully we can, man. As far as trades and stuff, we've still been linked to people like Bielitsa and stuff like that. I'm still not convinced that this team can win a championship alone. Like I do think we can beat anyone out east, even Brooklyn, because I think Brooklyn has some disadvantages that we can exploit. Like, first of all, well, obviously they don't have like that much of a bench. Like if I'm looking at their bench right now, I think DeAndre Jordan is the only guy. Him and TLC are the only guys that like really can do much on their bench. Like, I'm not really scared about Chris Chiozza or any of those other people. And they do lack defense. And Bam gave them 41 last time, and we almost beat them. So I do think that we can hold our own against the Nets. The Sixers is gonna be tough, but I don't know. The Sixers. The thing that makes the Sixers so good is they have shooters around Ben and Joel finally. We're gonna have to be wary of them. I think the Sixers are the team that scare me the most in the East out of everyone else, because I don't know if they're legit or not. For all those years that the Bucks were the number 1 seed, I was never scared of them in the playoffs. I always knew that they were not gonna do much in the playoffs because, number 1, their coach is not the best come playoff time, and number 2, their star player cannot shoot at all. So. And Chris Middleton is not that guy that scares me. He's not Kyrie. He's not someone who's gonna take over a game. He did against us in Game 4, but I mean, he's not gonna do that consistently. I'm not too scared of the Bucks. I'm not too scared of the Celtics or the Raptors or the Pacers. It's between the Nets and the Sixers for me. And the Nets, I do think we can beat them, but they do have 3 superstars. The Sixers is just because their team is so well constructed, and they do have a very good coach in Doc Rivers. So we'll have to see. I don't think this team is, I'm not convinced that this team can still win a championship. I do think we need an upgrade at the power forward position. Have Kelly Olynyk come off the bench or trade him or something. We do have a disabled player exception, which is worth like 4.7 mil. No one has signed DeMarcus Cousins yet. So, I mean, I don't know what people are waiting for. I thought he'd have gotten signed already, but hopefully we can get someone. And also, Victor Oladipo declined his max contract extension with the Rockets. The Heat and the Knicks are interested. He wants to come to Miami. Like, it's kind of obvious that he wants to come to Miami. It's just up to whether we want to sign him or not, or trade for him or not. If I'm the Rockets, I'm gonna try to trade Victor Oladipo away because he's not signing back. But should we trade away pieces to get Victor Oladipo now if we can just get him in free agency? I don't know. That's something that You guys will have to tell me in the comment section, because that's a big dilemma. Like, do you want to secure Victor Oladipo, lock him up? If he comes to us, if we trade for him, he's not going to leave in free agency. We don't have to worry about that. But we're going to be losing pieces for a guy that we can just get in free agency if we need to. So these are all questions that the front office will be working on. Andy Ellsberg, Pat Riley, Jack Hammer, all of them will be working on. But shout out to Spoelstra for getting like this game plan of I love the defense with the trapping and all that stuff. He's really helped hide some of the defenders' weaknesses, like Kelly Olynyk, Duncan Robinson. These guys get attacked in mismatches, and I think Duncan has actually really improved his defense. I don't know if you guys are with me on that, but he has really improved his defense from last year. But even so, teams are targeting them, and we've done a great job hiding our weaknesses on defense. But that's going to be from me, guys. Spent about 16 minutes on this video. I think that's a good video for this week. So like I said, leave a like, subscribe, comment down below what your thoughts are on the Heat's winning streak. Why do you think we're on the winning streak? Is it just purely because we got healthy, or did something else change? And also, what do you guys think about Oladipo, John Collins, guys like that who we can potentially trade for? Let me know down in the comments below. Y'all are the best. Let's get to 300. Shout out to everyone who subscribed. We are now at about 290 something, 293 last time I checked. So shout out to you guys. I'll see y'all later. Peace.